Hi guys, so today the tutorial is going to be to show you how to make a zipper pocket, so apparent zipper pocket. To do that, you have for sure the indication of the area where you want the pocket to be on your garment. So I indicate it with two punch holes. So this is the size of my zipper minus 2 centimeters, so 1 centimeter smaller on each side. So I'll be able to cut my dovetail. If you notice, I'm showing you now a guide that I make. That is the size of my zipper, the actual size of my zipper, plus 0.5 on each side to make little room for you to be able to sew. Actual size of the zipper plus about 5 millimeter on each size, and the width of my opening or the hole is the size of the biggest part of the zipper each side. So you make a guide, you'll use it later on. I also need two little facings, so the size of the facing is the size of the hole plus 2.5 or 1 inch on each side in the length of the zipper, and pretty much the width of the tape, the complete width of the zipper, plus 1 centimeter on each side. Make it bigger. It's better to have more than less. I also did another piece, the same size, but 2 or 3 times the length. This is for the pocket bag. So to start, what you're going to do, you're going to take one of the little facing and fold it wrong side with wrong side and press it right in the middle. You're going to open it, so I'm now on the wrong side of the fabric. Using your guide, you're going to center the pressing line in the middle and make sure you have center pretty much also in the lengthwise. So you place it right in the middle and you're going to trace the sewing line. Okay, so I place my facing center with my 2 punch holes that I have on the garment, and I'm going to open my welt, my facing, center, open, and you're going to sew all around. Remember not to start at the corner to eliminate the bulky corner. So you're going to sew right on your line, and you should count 3, 4, 5, and 6. Count the stitch because you should do the same amount on both sides. Stitch, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And instead of backpacking, you're going to go over where you're already stitched or where you start. So it eliminates the thickness of the seam. There you go. So when you're finish with your rectangle, you're going to fold your fabric one side or the other. You're going to fold your fabric and cut on the middle line or the fold that you already did. So you cut until the punch hole area, so 1 centimeter before the end, and you're going to cut all the way to your corner. Okay, so after pressing, you don't turn it right away. What you're going to do is you're going to press your facing towards the little seam allowance. So you're going to press the first side and the second side. This pressing is going to make it turn almost by itself. So now it's time to turn it inside out, and you're gonna work both corner a little bit. So I'm holding all the both layers and I'm twisting it a bit to make sure my fabric goes under. When it's done, you press it all inside. One side at a time. So when this is done, you take your zipper and you place it exactly where you want it. So center, and remember we have about 5 millimeters on each side excess. Okay, so at this point I'm going to change my foot for a narrow foot because I want to go closer to the zipper. So I'm going to take a small foot, or if you have the half foot is okay also. And we're going to start the top stitch again, not at the corner. I'm going to start over here, centered my zipper, and I'm going to stitch right next to the edge. Remember, even if you feel you have room, you should open the zipper to make sure your top stitch is going to be even all the way. When you reach to the corner, of course you turn, but you should zip it back so you hold both tail of the zipper. So I push it inside, I push it so the two tails they touch. Do my top stitch. And before sewing the top part, I open again to make sure I'm going to do my top stitch even. And then as soon as you can, you put it back up. There you go. And finish your top stitch. Again, you just go over, you don't backtack, it's going to be much cleaner. You just go over where you start. From the inside now, you take your second little facing, and on top you're going to put them both together and sew them together at 1 centimeter. You usually use exactly the same fabric that you have on top. So by making your facing 2 centimeters wider than the zipper tape, it gives you room to sew, more than enough room to sew. Your facing together. There you go. So see, when I open it, I should see here the same fabric that I have on top. Now turn it again. The bottom of this second facing, I'm going to assemble it good side with my lining. So the bottom of my facing with my lining. Now I have from the top my facing and my lining starting right after. I'm going to do an understitch on the facing. So I push my seam allowance towards the top, and I'm going to do my understitch to make it a little stronger. And so when your understitch is done, you have one more seam to do. So this is from the top again. Now you lift the bottom part, and you're going to go attach the bottom of the lining with the bottom of the first facing that we used to do the hole. So these two together, again at 1 centimeter. So I have now my facing and my lining that is attached to the bottom of the second facing and bottom of the top facing on the other side. So you have one last thing to do to close both sides of the pocket. So you could go press your lining down, and then you're going to lift one side and close the pocket bag. It's still open now. You're going to close your pocket bag at 1 centimeter or more because we have excess also. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'll lift the side and I'm going to sew it at, here you go. So the pocket is finished. I'm going to show you now some variation, how you could use this technique and make it different pocket. Okay, one variation that you could do is, instead of having the top stitch that looks a little more sporty, you could sew it, instead of the top stitch, you could sew your zipper on by the inside, by lifting and sewing over here instead of over. On this one, I also put little tab at the bottom, both sides of the zipper, just so you don't see the metal tab. So you could do that too. It looks a little more clean. Another variation that you could do is making two little, looks like welt, little lips to your zipper. This would be to cover more of the tape, but still your zipper could move easily. So if you want to do this one, you need to cut two more of those little facing that I was talking about before. And you're going to assemble them on your zipper before doing the other steps. So the other variation you could have is maybe hide almost everything of the zipper by doing a kind of welt pocket over it. Again, this is pretty much the same thing. You need to cut two extra pieces of that facing. Two extra pieces of the facing, and the way I suggest you do it is that you press one of it. So I have my two pieces here, put them one over the other, press one of them so you have the crease, and you go stitch it with very long stitch. You stitch right on your fold. When you're done, you're going to snip to make your thread even weaker. So big long stitch, and you snip it. So you could apply, now I press it, I'm folding the fabric opposite direction, you see my lips here, and you're going to apply it to your tape also before putting it onto your garment. So you could center, when you're sewing, you could center using your seam as a guide to keep it exactly in the middle. And then you would go put it on to your little opening. The zipper pocket again, but covered with a flap. That could be interesting also. So if you want to do the zipper pocket cover with a flap, of course you need your flap to be done before, exactly the size of your hole. And you're going to stitch it to your first facing before putting the zipper. So you're going to stitch it on, and once it's sewn, you do the rest of the steps like I just did. So these are my 4 variations of the zipper pocket. Hope you enjoy, and I see you next time.